For those who've been following me on my first channel for a while, you know that up until last fall, the majority of my travels took place in the southeastern US. But around the fall of 2022, I finally made my way to the Northeast, the most heavily populated and oldest part of the country. One state that I was somewhat surprised to find that ended up being far more interesting than I anticipated was New Jersey. Sandwiched between the major metros of Philadelphia and New York City, I fully expected New Jersey to be an unexciting place that I would just have to pass through while exploring those two cities. But oh boy, was I wrong. New Jersey wound up being quite the interesting place, and due to its strategic location and the cost being less than New York or Philadelphia, I actually ended up spending more time in New Jersey than in any other state on my trip to the Northeast. So on this video, I'm going to share with you the 10 things I learned when visiting New Jersey for the first time. Hit that like button as we get started, subscribe if you love it, and let's talk about the Garden State. The first thing to start with on this video, and what will likely be the shock of your life for the first time coming to New Jersey, is that you cannot pump your own gas. That's right, in New Jersey it is illegal for a customer to get out of the car and pump their own gas at the station. I actually was in New Jersey for a couple of weeks before I realized this one. I had booked a hotel near Cherry Hill as a base to explore and film Philadelphia from, so I didn't need to get gas in New Jersey for quite some time. It was on a day where I was traveling from Mount Laurel, New Jersey to Allentown, Pennsylvania, and foolishly chose the avoid tolls option on my GPS that I finally stopped to get gas in New Jersey. Upon stepping out of my vehicle at a Wawa and attempting to scan my card, an attendant approached and she said, "I got it." She went on to explain that I could relax and wait in the car while she handled the gas pump. Now, being from North Carolina, I'd never seen anything like this in my life. In New Jersey, you pull up at the pump, hand the attendant your card, and they pump your gas while you wait in the car. This is not optional, and it is state law. You will find an attendant working at every gas station, no matter how large or how small. Upon further research, it turns out that these full-service gas stations were actually a popular thing in the early 1900s, but eventually fell out of favor by the 1970s in most states. But in New Jersey, a law was passed in 1949 known as the Retail Gasoline Dispensing Safety Act that banned self-service gas stations across the state, claiming safety issues due to consumers pumping their own gas. It was later admitted that this law was really passed for price protection reasons. There have been several attempts to repeal this ban, particularly when gas prices spike. However, New Jerseyans have made it clear that they do not want to pump their own gas. A Fairleigh Dickenson University Public Mind poll in 2012 found that 63% of New Jerseyans did not want the ban repealed, and only 23% were in favor of self-serve gas stations. All politicians who have proposed removing the ban have met fierce opposition, so it's safe to say that you will never be able to pump your own gas in New Jersey. Personally, I just could never get used to this one. It always just seemed like more of a hassle than it was worth to have someone else do something so simple. The second thing I learned about New Jersey is that in this state, BYOB means bring your own bag. I learned about this one rather quickly after stopping at a Walmart to grab a few groceries and coming to the self-checkout only to see no bags at the register. The attendant then informed me that bags were recently banned in New Jersey. Customers have to either bring their own bags or load their carts and walk out of the store with their items unbagged. Now, this wasn't too shocking, as you can find it in several states at the Aldi grocery store. However, in New Jersey, it applies to all stores with few exceptions. No matter whether it's Target, Walmart, or the local liquor store, bring your own bag or carry it by hand. Since I sometimes shopped at an Aldi store back at home, this wasn't too difficult of an adjustment. However, in some cases, it can indeed be somewhat awkward and inconvenient. The biggest example of this was when I stopped at a Moe's Grill restaurant and was informed that they no longer offered bags, and I had to awkwardly carry my bowl, chips, and salsa out of the restaurant by hand. So BYOB isn't just for grocery stores in New Jersey, it's for every store. Apparently, this ban on bags went into effect in May of 2022, and so far has had mixed results. While there are no plastic bags, most stores do have these reusable bags available for purchase. But what ends up happening far too often is that people just buy a new reusable bag when shopping, and you can find these reusable bags littered around parking lots as people discard them, somewhat reducing the impact of the environmental issues it was implemented to resolve. Another possible downside, which I personally don't have any data on, are the security issues. Since there are no bags and it's normalized for customers to walk out of the store with whatever they purchase in hand, it made me wonder how loss prevention has been impacted by the law. Most stores do have an attendant who's supposed to check receipts on the way out, but this wasn't always the case. The number 3 thing you need to understand about New Jersey is the geography. New Jersey is divided into 3 regions: the Philadelphia suburbs, the New York suburbs, and everything else. The Philadelphia suburbs are centered around Camden County, which sits directly across the Delaware River from Center City, Philadelphia. It consists of areas such as Camden, Cherry Hill, Collingswood, and various other suburban towns, while the New York suburbs are anchored by Newark and Jersey City. And while technically are outlying areas of New York City, they are highly dense and urbanized in their own right. The New York area is so dominant that its influence extends deep into the center of the state. In the rest of the state, you can find the Jersey Shore, Atlantic City, Cape May, the Delaware Water Gap, and even some semi-mountainous terrain in the northwestern part of the state. Trenton, the state capital, is in an interesting spot as it sits about halfway between New York and Philadelphia. Trenton used to be included in the Philadelphia combined statistical area, but since 2000, the dominance of New York has snatched it away, and it is now part of New York City combined statistical area. While the state as a whole is very dense, the vast majority of said density is in the New York City metro area and to a lesser degree the Philadelphia area, which leads us into number 4. Every square inch of New Jersey is incorporated. Yes, every piece of land in New Jersey is a part of some municipality. There is no open county land available for potential annexation like you will find in other states. You know how in other states you typically have cities and towns as municipalities and counties that operate above those on the hierarchy before the state government? Well, in New Jersey there are not 1, not 2, but 5 different forms of municipalities. They have cities, towns, boroughs, townships, and villages. Then there are 11 forms of government that can be used in these various types of municipalities. What's the difference between them? Nothing really, except the name for the most part. While a township is a form of government, in New Jersey, having township in the name does not denote the actual form of government. So the actual style of government can vary depending on where you are. As for counties, they still do function as the next level of government between the state and local, like you will find in most other states. Speaking of which, at number 5 is the fact that New Jersey does not have any true major cities. While New Jersey has a population of almost 9.3 million people and is America's most densely populated state, it lacks a true major city. This is for 2 reasons. One is due to most of the state being dominated by New York and Philadelphia, and also due to most of the densely populated cities being small in land area. Bergen County in the New York area has a whopping 955,000 people. However, it is split up between 70 different municipalities, the most populous of which is Hackensack and only has 46,000 people. Newark, which has long been the state's largest city, feels like it's kind of just there in a sea of New York City dominated municipalities and wields very little actual influence of its own. Many major highways in New Jersey will skip right over Newark and just list New York City as the control city for northbound traffic. So while many cities that sit across from Manhattan can feel almost as dense as Manhattan, you can't really see much difference between them, and the population being split up creates a lack of actual large cities in the area. At number 6 is that New Jersey is free to enter, but you have to pay to leave. I can't remember where, but I actually heard a joke about this long ago. And boy, oh boy, is it the truth. I first noticed this in the Philadelphia area. It was $5 to cross most of the bridges into Philly, but when coming back into New Jersey, there were no tolls. It's a similar situation in New York City, except of course, New York's tolls are higher. With those tolls on the GWB, it would be quite devastating to your wallet if you had to pay them twice. So this is quite a welcome relief. I've seen some claim that this is to discourage people from driving into New York or Philadelphia, while some others have claimed that it was to prevent backups into Philly and New York back when the physical toll booths were in operation. The latter seems to be the more plausible reasoning for it. At number 7 is the New Jersey Turnpike. I'll go ahead and say it now. The New Jersey Turnpike is awesome and is probably the best designed roadway in the entire country. When I first entered the state coming over the Delaware Memorial Bridge, I saw signage for choosing the Turnpike or I-295 to head northbound. Being from North Carolina, my natural instinct was to avoid the toll highway when there was a free one right next to it. Though I did see a lot of travelers venturing onto the Turnpike, especially the truckers. I pretty much avoided the Turnpike the entire time I was exploring the Philadelphia area, but when it came time to hit New York City, I had no choice but to go ahead and check it out. When I first saw the signage separating traffic in cars only and cars plus trucks, it was at this moment that I realized that this place was different. There were 3 lanes on the interior for cars only and 2 on the exterior for cars and trucks. This separation of traffic worked beautifully, and despite the density of the state, it was a smooth ride all the way from the Trenton area up into the George Washington Bridge bottleneck, where everything collapses as you approach New York City. Basically, the New Jersey Turnpike is a major tolled highway that almost bisects the state of New Jersey right down the middle in terms of population centers. Between the I-95 junction and up until around Newark, it has 2 332 configuration, separating traffic, and splits off with an extension taking I-78 towards the Holland Tunnel, while the main line continues with I-95 towards the George Washington Bridge. South of the I-95 split, it becomes a regular 6-lane highway, but it's not as bad as you would think due to I-295 running parallel to it nearby, which handles most of the local traffic. The number of exits along the turnpike are also limited to minimize entering and exiting of the roadway, keeping it reserved for long distance travelers. And an added bonus on the turnpike were the rest areas. I'm used to rest areas along highways mostly consisting of an information center, restrooms, and maybe somewhere to get some gas, but those on the New Jersey Turnpike are different. These things are like mini shopping centers with several restaurants, coffee shops, and even a full convenience store. The bathrooms and facilities overall were very clean, and you can meet people from all over the East Coast at one of these facilities as they take a break from their long-range road trip. If you're really tired, one of the rest areas had a time limit of 8 hours for parking to allow travelers to take a long break. That's probably the highest that I've ever seen anywhere. The rest areas were so busy that you would think they were destinations in themselves. Overall, it's just an awesome roadway. It might be the first time where I thought to myself, if tolls can build a road like this, then I don't mind paying them. Texas probably should have looked at New Jersey before designing their Katy Freeway in Houston. At number 8 is the road construction. Something I noticed about New Jersey that I hadn't really seen in other states is that anytime there was road or utility work going on, there was also a police officer accompanying the crew. No matter how major or minor the road work, there was always an officer. This was such a good idea as people are more likely to slow down and obey traffic laws in the presence of a patrol officer. I've certainly witnessed my fair share of drivers trying to rush through construction areas and endangering the workers, so this probably works wonders for safety. Other states probably don't do it due to the costs, but somehow New Jersey manages to pull it off. At number 9 is one that will shock you from a traffic perspective, and that is that you cannot turn left in New Jersey. Well, not in a literal sense, but what you'll find along many major arterial roads in New Jersey is something called the New Jersey Jughandle. I did a more comprehensive breakdown of this concept a while back on another video, which you can find in the description. But the basic idea behind the New Jersey Jughandle is to prevent the left turn across busy highways, which typically is the most dangerous movement as well as the most disruptive to traffic flow, as it puts slower moving, exiting vehicles into the left lane, which is typically supposed to be reserved for faster moving traffic. It accomplishes this by using ramps from the right lane called jug handles that drivers must use to access businesses on the other side of the road or to turn left onto a crossing road. Think of the type of ramps you'll find at a typical cloverleaf interchange, along with the use of a side ramp that forms a jug handle shape off the main roadway. It was a little confusing initially, but after cruising in the left lane looking for a left turn lane for a while, I finally noticed one of the all turns from the right signs that are common along New Jersey highways. It has its pros and cons, but overall it was an easy adjustment to make and did a pretty good job of maintaining traffic flow along major corridors in this densely populated state. Thanks to the jug handle, I was able to make a smooth trip up US 1 from Trenton to I-287 with very little stopping along the way. You're just not going to find such a situation along developed corridors in most other states. And at number 10, despite everything, by most metrics, it seems like New Jersey is a nice place to live. New Jersey is consistently ranked as one of the wealthiest states in the country. The schools are top ranked in the nation. The transportation system is one of the most well developed in the country, with superior design to neighboring states, and the roads are in much better condition for the most part. New Jersey is one of the few places where they've actually been able to get decent transit built out into the suburbs with rail lines, whereas in most suburbs in the South or on the West Coast, this would be a political non-starter. You can live in high density spots like Jersey City or Hoboken, or get you a single family home in the Raritan Valley cities, and all this while having the amenities of New York City within a day trip from most parts of the state without actually having to live there. As I said at the beginning of the video, I expected much less from New Jersey, but was pleasantly surprised. I don't care to live in the Northeast, but if some reason I did, I would probably pick New Jersey, maybe Hoboken right across from New York City. And alright guys, there you have it, my thoughts and experiences on my first ever time traveling to New Jersey. Let me know what you thought on your first trip ever traveling to New Jersey if you've been there, or better yet, if you actually live in the state. Thanks for watching, see you on the next trip, coming soon to a town near you.